All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really deeply personal account of a profound spiritual shift. We're talking about an experience so absolutely massive that it literally snapped the author's life right down the middle into a distinct before and after. But this isn't just some vague mystical story. It's actually a step-by-step breakdown of how gaining a totally new perspective fundamentally rewires the way you view yourself and the entire world around you. So, the source material kicks things off with a question I think we really all need to ask ourselves. Have you ever experienced a moment so profound that it divided your life into two parts? We aren't talking about a fleeting emotional high here. No, we're exploring a permanent recalibration of reality. Like, after this encounter, the author was simply and entirely no longer the person they used to be. And honestly, here is the huge realization from the text. The true transformation didn't actually come from some flashy, unexplainable, supernatural event. The real change happened because of what they understood afterward. It's that lasting cognitive shift, right? That internal aha moment, not just this sensory fireworks, that actually changes who you are at your core. Section 1. Recalibrating the inner self, shifting focus from fear to purpose. Now, this journey inherently begins inward. Just think about it for a second. Two people can stare at the exact same mountain, but experience completely different realities. Where one person looks and, only sees defeat, obstacles, and limitations, somebody else, armed with a new perspective, sees opportunity, possibilities, and potential. It's wild, but your life changes when your lens changes, not necessarily your circumstances. And this leads right into how we handle fear. The author notes that when we shift our focus away from our immediate stressful circumstances and zoom out toward a higher power, those once gigantic, paralyzing fears, they suddenly lose their grip. The problems don't just magically vanish, but as awareness of a divine power grows, those personal problems actually begin to shrink by comparison.
Now, obviously, we all naturally crave comfort. I mean, nobody wakes up hoping for a really uncomfortable day, right? But this breakdown maps out a pretty fascinating reality. Pursuing true purpose actually requires growth. Growth demands stretching. And stretching? Well, stretching feels uncomfortable. It turns out some of life's absolute greatest opportunities actually arrive disguised as really uncomfortable difficulties.
Moving on to Section 2, Reevaluating the Outer World, Cutting Through the Noise. So once the inner world was recalibrated, a really stark contrast in modern society became super obvious to the author. I mean, look around. We are constantly surrounded by endless information. We rush from one distraction to the next, doom scroll. And the result? We are highly digitally connected, but often entirely spiritually disconnected. We're incredibly busy, yet somehow totally unfulfilled. This specific realization sparked a total reevaluation of priorities in the text. Think about the fading noise the world is constantly chasing. These temporary pursuits like recognition, status, possessions, approval. Now contrast that with the unmeasurable, enduring realities, faith, love, character, and integrity. It prompts this major mental shift, moving away from constantly asking, what do I want, to actually asking, wait, what actually matters? And this shift in values, it profoundly changes how you view other people. You start to realize that every single person matters, especially those who feel invisible or, just completely forgotten by society. It's all about stripping away that quick judgment based purely on people's actions and instead looking at everyone around you through a pure, unfiltered lens of compassion. Section 3, The Unseen Work, Reinterpreting Silence.
It's so easy to just assume that if things are silent, nothing is happening. But the author points out that divine silence definitely does not mean absence. There are unseen actions constantly at work in the background of our lives. We're talking about preparing opportunities, opening doors, closing dangerous paths, aligning circumstances, and protecting destinies long, long before any of it is actually visible to human eyes. When you truly start to believe that this unseen work is happening, your entire view of hardship completely flips. That massive obstacle in your way, it isn't a rejection, it's actually preparation. The painful delay you're going through is really just vital positioning for something far, far greater. Which brings us to Section 4, The Ultimate Revelation, Beyond the Spiritual Realm. All of this builds to a pretty surprising realization about a trap that so many spiritual seekers fall right into.
It's so incredibly easy to get totally fascinated about the experience itself, chasing visions, searching for supernatural mysteries, hunting for hidden meanings, that you entirely miss the bigger picture of what those experiences are actually pointing toward in the first place. Because ultimately, the greatest revelation is never the experience, it is always the creator. The ultimate treasure isn't a fleeting vision or, cracking some kind of supernatural code. It's a deeper, much more personal relationship with God. Every single genuine encounter is just a signpost. The fireworks are really just meant to get you to look up at the sky. By stepping off that exhausted treadmill of just chasing mystical highs, the author's transformation became completely concrete and life-altering. Faith became stronger. Those paralyzing fears, they became smaller. The view of the world became a whole lot clearer, and life's purpose became infinitely deeper. That is what it actually looks like to redefine your existence. So, based on the source text, we really have to leave you with this final provocative thought to examine today. Take a hard look at your daily pursuits. Are you endlessly chasing fleeting experiences, or are you actually seeking the enduring realities that truly matter? Seriously, examine where your focus goes, because what consistently receives your attention will absolutely eventually shape your entire life.